fickle. They're fickle.
Yo, what is a poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host, the most Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back once again in the Yard of Streams for another edition of the Raw Rewind, presented to you by Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And it's not just me, Patty P, here in the Yard of Streams. I'm joined, as always, by the best of the West that you can't forget about. Sarah Marshall, what's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello. Oh my gosh, sorry, that came with a yawn. Ooh, jeez.
That was a tough time to yawn right after the
Sorry.
Nah, you've been grinding out here past few days. It's
I'm
free
so
agency.
Yeah, I'm so tired. I actually fell asleep like sitting up this morning.
Really? Like eating breakfast or?
No, I like to work from my bed because I got one of those tables that like slide over your bed. You know, like when you have what you have in the hospital.
Yeah.
So I got one of those so that I could work from my bed. And
That's unbelievable.
so I was sitting there and then I was like, all right, I'm just gonna like chill for a minute, you know, and I just kind of like leaned to the side, and then I realized I had been like laying there for like an hour. Fortunately, I didn't miss anything because the Patriots haven't done anything today so far, knock on wood.
No,
but,
they did all their spending, a majority.
Yeah, but it's
like
just been a rough couple weeks for sleep with me. So not great when then you have to like, you know, start work at 7:30 and then you're just like sitting there and writing.
No,
like I told you, I wrote 14 articles yesterday.
Yeah,
so.
I've also fallen asleep just sitting there, like not off. I'll sit, you know, just 20 minutes, whatnot. 45 minutes goes by, like unbelievable. So yeah, it's been a long week too. Already.
It's only Tuesday.
It's only friggin' Tuesday. Because Tuesdays are my Mondays.
Yeah.
With the Sunday, Monday off, which, you know, it is nice, but I would like to be a regular human and have that Monday through Friday. I would like to know what it feels like to go out for drinks after work with your coworkers. You know what I mean? Because when you don't work with anyone your friggin' age. But no, it's good shit. And a lot of people, at least from what I've seen, weren't excited, now are for WrestleMania after what happened with Cena. You know what I mean? And so
I still think that makes I still have, oh my God, I can't stop yawning. It's like at that point where I just can't stop. Okay. I do think that there is a little bit more excitement around Mania, but like I said, after Elimination Chamber, I think that people are excited for that match. That's about as far as the excitement goes. I think you assume what other matches are going to be. Like, I think after what we saw last night, people are excited about the women's world title match. But like, again, it's taking time to get there. People are more so looking forward to what's going to happen between Cena and Cody. And that's the main root of the excitement. I don't know that people are really collectively excited for the entire 2 days of WrestleMania. Not yet. And that's kind of disappointing, you know?
I have my thoughts about it. You know, like, I feel like the women's championship match was like, it did feel forced, but I see the story that they're trying to tell with it. And without going into all of it right now, I was a fan of what I saw last night with that segment. So I was a fan of a lot from what I saw. And I was looking at the comments beforehand, not to jump right into it, but we're going to go right into the peeps because somebody, I'll show the bread. Give me a second.
What is with this bread thing?
Because you got to show the bread, baby. What's up, Unhinged Main Event Fro? David was popping. Sup? Where I think we had a lot of comments. Sophia got WWE 2K25 for her boyfriend did. I'm going to get it this week. I haven't decided because we're going to be streaming it. Like, that's it. This is it. I don't know what to start with first. I was thinking GM mode with us, but after watching a channel. I think it's New Legacy on YouTube.
Oh
They
yeah, they're
were
kind of
doing
funny
it.
though.
They
They're
are funny. I like their shit, but they were giving details, and they were giving details
Mhm,
about how online compared to one console
mhm.
differs with different things, and I don't know. I want to read
Well,
more
you're an
into it.
Xbox person, right? You don't even have PlayStation?
No, Xbox full through and through. So I feel like my rise would be
Interesting.
easier
My
for
sister
right now.
transitioned from being an Xboxer
Well,
to a
here's the thing. Yes,
PlayStation.
this is final boss. I knew he said it. I gonna get that. I was the opposite. I
You
went
transitioned
place
from a PlayStationer to an Xboxer?
forced transition
Oh.
because the friends that you have at school when they all have Xbox and they
That
all play Call of Duty.
that's what my sister did too. All of her friends were playing PlayStation, so she got a PlayStation.
I like PlayStation better.
Oh
I
my
just
god,
always
that
thought it was a better product. Sony just makes good shit. Look at
Mhm.
Spider-Man.
Imagine that.
Incredible. Like Spider-Man, the Incredible Spider-Man. This is what I was bringing up because Final Boss, we're going to get to all of that and more on this week's edition of the Raw Rewind. But I'm going to say right now that Raw last night was not a bore. Completely.
No, it
Don't
wasn't. Not
you.
from top to bottom,
Not from
but
top to bottom, it was boring. Yeah, obviously there's gonna be boring. It can't all be a rising roller coaster.
I think if we're
I
just
just think
comparing
that
it to the recent episodes of Raw being pretty good from start to finish, this one did not live up to that. So I think that's why
that's
people
what
were kind of like underwhelmed.
well, the thing is that you need to put the pieces together to make the puzzle that is WrestleMania 41. So each week you're gonna find little details that hype up the feud or the match or whatever, and is going to connect the dots to what the actual Mania card is going to be and how it is going to play out. I still think for a few things we are a few weeks out, but from what we saw last night, I'm more excited for certain matches than I was before. So much more excited, and they did their job there. Unhinged main event for I think I got you twice, David. I'll get you twice too. Why not? Oh, Nathaniel, did you say something? Oh, yeah, this because I don't care. All right, we're gonna talk about AEW and
Cope
Revolution on Thursday.
Cope is on my poop list again. He just made
Yeah,
the list again.
he just that's one you got it,
I
Sarah.
know. I know.
That's we got to throw it in there.
I know. I have it written
Um,
down.
back to Cope shit. Yes, Revolution main event. I'm gonna talk all about that on Thursday because the TikTok that I made, which go follow at Patty Pitts on TikTok, and then while you're there, go follow No Nights Off Show on TikTok as well. I made a TikTok about it, and I don't think the time I gave myself was enough. Like I need to rant about it, throw some lemons at that shit.
I wonder. I would have Cope on my list like 18 times. I think that's funny.
Yeah, for the amount of times that he should have been pinned between 2020 and now, and did not put the guy over.
Yep. Yeah, that's who he is now. So
Love the peeps. Oh yeah, we're back.
also
We're
I
back.
saw John's explanation, so thank you for explaining.
Oh, okay.
What that means. It does not
I always
surprise
bet
me
that.
that you would say that. So
What do you mean? Like, see, my thing is that I'm gonna quote John
why?
here.
Oh my god.
Why?
You really
Because you always
carry
gotta put
bread
that bread
around?
on you.
Oh my god.
No, I just always have bread sometimes. So
that I always have bread sometimes.
yeah, nonsense, baby.
Oh lordy.
So there's a quote that I'm not going to say the whole quote, and I'm not going to get fully into it because we do have a show to get into. But they are flabbergasted by how I say certain phrase or whatnot that stick with people, but I don't remember them.
Oh.
And my justification is that I say a lot of random shit during the day. It's a lot to remember, and sometimes what I think is just verbal garbage. Someone finds as buried treasure. So
It's like, oh my god, Pat, so funny.
sometimes it'd be
Such a
like
funny
that.
guy.
Another
So
times it's
goofy.
like Yeah, and then other times
Go fuck yourself.
because I hear that a lot too.
Oh yeah.
Hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Anyways, Sarah,
Yeah.
kick it off with what kicked off Raw, baby.
Yeah, my worst nightmare. I want to say this is like the 4th time in like the last 6 or 7 weeks that he started off Raw. Okay. And that's another thing. My worst nightmare. I'm just sick of it. So we see Jey Uso take on Grayson Waller because of their backstage moment after they came out to help deal with Jay, I guess. And of course Jay ends up winning. And that's why I say I still don't get it. Like I don't understand what we're doing. I don't understand what we're doing. How is he an underdog? It could be so easy to make him look like an underdog if he just got pinned, like a roll-up pin on Grayson Waller. There's nothing anyone can say in the comments, I'm telling you right now, that will convince me otherwise, to say that like, oh, if he got pinned by Grayson Waller, that would hurt him. How? It wouldn't. It wouldn't. I'm not saying have him get pinned by Akira Tozawa or a random jobber that they chose to use that week. I'm not saying that. But anyway. And then at the end, Gunther comes in and chokes out Jay, which I was like, hey Gunther. But
that was intense.
I loved it. But this is the thing. This is the same problem. This is something that I think that I spoke about last week. And this is very similar to what they have been doing since the Royal Rumble. And it's getting repetitive and it's getting boring. And I get that there is a long time between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. And when you are the Rumble winner, you're not going to be competing in the Elimination Chamber. I mean, for the most part, I'm sure there is a time where that did happen, but so that isn't something that can be done in the middle, and then it's like, oh, okay, they're kind of continuing this feud or giving it a new direction or giving it new life. So all of this stuff that they're doing with Gunther and Jay, I get it. They've got to do something to like remind you that this is what the Mania match is. But like, can we, I don't know, keep them separated for a little bit? Or like, can Jay be doing other things, or can Gunther be like competing or whatever? Like, can we do something else where it's not like, oh, Gunther's in the ring and once he wins, Jay's gonna come out and try and beat him up, and then when Jay's in the ring and he wins, Gunther's gonna come out and choke him out? It's like, we don't need to see this every single week.
May I suggest an upgrade? What if Gunther just stood around ringside, it was in the crowd, mocking Jay, like not touching him because he doesn't need to attack him. That's not what Gunther does. But he's just mocking him the entire
I would love
time.
for him to be in the audience, like with a pair of Yeet sunglasses.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just like mocking Jay the entire time. Like, he should be lurking around Jay everywhere he goes when he's, at the ring. Maybe even backstage a little bit for segments, but like they should be doing more with Gunther and Jay during Jay's matches.
Yeah.
Like that's
first of all, Jay has to have a match because that was his first match, I think, since the Rumble. So like
but and they were doing good, but doesn't matter. Like when he's doing his Yeats like promos and stuff to kick off the show, like Gunther should just always be lurking around Jay, because what that means is that Jay, he's that voice that you can't do it. You know, that voice that's just saying you can't be that guy. You are not a world champion, and it's personified. Like that makes it better. You know what I mean? Like I don't get why they don't do that type of shit.
Well,
it's so easy to do. It's so much better than just the old school run in.
Yeah.
Take him out afterwards. Like,
it's boring. And I'm sorry, but the way that Jay comes out to like try and protect people, he literally is. I'm sorry, I'm not saying that he's like an egomaniac, but let's say Jey Uso is a maniac, like egomaniac, because he doesn't run out. He like lets the music play for a second and then he comes out and he's like, hey, and I'm like, aren't you supposed to be coming out here to help at Alpha Academy? They're getting their ass beat by Gunther right now. Why are you taking a moment to like soak it in and like high five fans? Like, I don't understand that, but I still don't understand why we're not making him look like an underdog. again, I see that Richard does not agree with me. Grayson Waller is not a rookie, first of all. So I don't know.
No,
Richard said that.
no, he's not.
But no. I'm not saying that he has to lose all the time. I don't want to get into this argument again, but I just don't understand. Like, you need to make people believe the story that you're putting in front of them. If I'm supposed to believe that Jey Uso is an underdog, you're doing a really bad job at that, because if anything, you've made it look more like he's the favorite. And as I've said already, I said, because like everybody's behind him, the entire locker room, the entire fan base, the higher ups like Triple H. Like, how does that not make him like the favorite? It doesn't matter if his wrestling skills are not up to par with Gunther's. That doesn't matter. But I don't know. We'll see. They definitely need to do something different, because they're still, by next week, there will be 5 weeks until Mania. So they're going to have to figure out a way to make this interesting.
Pretty cool. Sarah, pretty cool.
Yeah. And then we get the return of Logan Paul, who now has a t-shirt that says, I hate Logan Paul. I would not buy it, because if you hate Logan Paul, good for you. I do too, but I'm pretty sure he gets the profit from that.
No,
like,
he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
he gets a percentage. That's part of that's part of the contract you sign.
Yeah, no thanks.
It's a good shirt though.
I mean, sure, I'm not gonna get a t-shirt that says I hate Logan Paul so that I can give him more money. No.
I buy Prime, so like I'm giving him money regardless.
Disgusting.
It's good. It's delicious.
I don't like flavored water, so I never tried it.
You don't like Gatorade?
Okay, I did not start being okay with Gatorade until, I don't know, like maybe the pandemic. And there's only certain flavors of Gatorade that I'm like okay with. So that's the thing.
I'm gonna guess one of them before we go.
Okay.
Red.
No.
Really?
I haven't.
It's below.
Yeah, it's the Glacier Freeze. I think
that's the best one.
Yeah, that's the one I'm okay with.
That's the best one.
Anyway, so Logan Paul comes out surprisingly first, because AJ Styles had said last week that he was going to call out Logan, and instead Logan was like, no, actually, I am going to call out you. So he comes out, and it was just a hot mess. I'm sorry. They also were under the mistaken impression that Andrew Schultz was like some sort of icon in New York, and thinking that people were gonna care.
No, they're promoting his Netflix special.
That's fine, but I'm saying like that's what this whole thing of like AJ Styles is gonna come out to help Andrew Schultz. It's like no one cared.
I thought it was hilarious. I wanted to see Andrew Schultz get superplex. It
was just the most.
I love Andrew Schultz. I still want to see him get suplexed. But
so, well, we'll see. He's kind of a big, like, he's a lanky dude, so I don't know how that would work.
He could take a bump.
Well, yeah, but anyway. So AJ comes out, blah, blah, blah. This basically just confirms that AJ Styles versus Logan Paul is definitely happening at Mania, which I think is kind of a curveball, because we thought we were going to see something different for these guys. We thought AJ Styles at least was going to be involved in the Intercontinental Championship multi-man match that we've predicted for a few weeks at this point, but they've put that on the back burner, it seems, of him and Braun Breaker having some sort of beef. And Logan Paul's future, I think, was a little bit more up in the air for Mania after Elimination Chamber, but we knew that he was going to get a match regardless. So it looks like it's going to be AJ Styles. And I don't know. It's going to be a good match, but I don't know how like much I care about it at this point. But I am looking forward to watching it. It's going to be a very good
WrestleMania match. It's going to be a good WrestleMania match, and that's all this is really building to. AJ Styles being at that point in his career now where it's great to see him fight for the Intercontinental Championship, but he doesn't need to be in a match for it when he can be just fighting Logan Paul. Like, it doesn't, he doing the same job. And I see a lot of his, feud, whatever, build up to Mania with Logan Paul to Shane McMahon and his feud
with Shane.
Yeah, when they fought at WrestleMania 33, where it felt at first forced.
Wait, it was that long ago?
It was same one as the Hardys. Yeah.
Dang.
I know, it's crazy.
That feels gross, doesn't it?
I broke a chair that night.
Why? Were you so mad?
No. When Hardy's came out, I was
Oh my
going like
god.
this,
Oh
and I
jeez.
broke a chair.
Okay.
Yeah, college. But the point being that the build up itself was good for a wrestling show. Like if you were just a WWE fan, it's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Stop
but
reading the comments.
I'm not. It was a family group chat that came up on my message,
Oh, okay.
actually.
Okay.
Yeah. It didn't feel like a big build up, just like whatever, always attacking him. AJ Styles got a crazy side,
Mm-hmm.
but it still was one of the better matches of the whole show. I think it
Mm-hmm.
kicked off the show,
Yeah.
and people were like, "Holy shit, what a match!" This is going to be a very good match. I know.
Well, and
sorry
that's
to
why
break
I'm
it to you,
saying it
but
could be like if in that regard, it's exciting to look forward to because it's going to be a good wrestling match. Brings me back to my point of the people who say that wrestling doesn't matter. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because sometimes a feud will not be good, right? And you're not that excited or invested in the storyline that led up to their match. But that match, like we were just talking about the Charlotte versus Rhea build up to Mania 39. Not great. Was not good.
the
Until
wrestle.
but the match is one of the best women's matches of all time. So that's why I'm saying it's like both things matter, but sometimes one thing is better than the other. And in this case, I think we're probably going to have a better match between Logan and AJ than a better build-up or feud. Like it's nothing against AJ. I think that like being against a guy like Logan is kind of restricting, because like Logan doesn't understand the business in the way that AJ does. He can't cut a promo the way that AJ does. So, it's not going to be the same as him versus Shane in that regard, just because we know Shane. Hello, it's Shane McMahon.
It's Shane O'Mac.
Yeah. That's still wild to me.
Here comes the money.
Okay, I want to get to comments because there's a bunch of them. But let's see. Okay, Rem's really.
Oh, Remy wants to read some comments.
Hi. Your friend John wants to bring back Papa Shango, apparently. Big Papa
I would
Shango
like to
fan.
see Papa Shango.
So does that mean you also like The Godfather?
Yes.
Oh, you wouldn't. You would never argue with me about WWE?
He wouldn't.
You wouldn't, or you wouldn't suggest?
Like, if you guys are talking wrestling, he is going to concede to you. That's what we're saying.
I agree with Trainer Red. He said we need backstage brawls and real heel beatdowns. For real, we need that more.
Were you not entertained by CM Punk, Seth Rollins?
No, I was, but
I'm asking Trainer Red.
Oh, just saying if more heels did what Cena did at the Chamber. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like
little things.
It's really difficult for them to make like legitimate heels anymore. And like I said, I'm part of the problem because I am somebody who cheers for the heels when you're not supposed to. But they also don't do a very good job at making heels that are hateable. And that's why people cheer for them. Of course, there's going to be people that always are like, you know what? I want to do the opposite of what I'm told or what they want me to do. So I'm going to cheer for the bad guy because they don't want me to do that. But it's also like when a heel isn't so disgusting or hateable in the way that they used to be, like you could be the biggest Randy Orton fan, but bald 09 Randy Orton, you hated that man's guts. It didn't matter if you had been, you were a big Randy fan before and after that. They just don't do that anymore. And they don't even have to be super controversial or anything. They just don't do it. And I don't know if it's because of, we know more about the business now or what that kind of like impacts that, but it just feels like they don't really do a great job.
Triple H can't duplicate himself, Sarah. That's the issue.
But
there is not been since Randy Orton.
No, I would disagree.
Like a maniacal, twisted.
Okay, heel. Not in that way, but I do think that they've done like, CM Punk has been disgustingly hateable, So it's like
for different reasons, but yes.
Yes. So that's the thing is I think it's going to depend on the person whether or not they can pull it off. and how far they take it. But I don't think that they need to take it to a level of, I'm stalking you, I'm going to your house and beating you up in your house and stuff. Like, they don't have to do that like bald Randy Orton. They don't have to be punting you in the head and like trying to break your neck or whatever. But there are ways to do that more than just like, oh, let's go beat up when the New Day were good. Let's go beat up the New Day because people love the New Day and that's going to get me hated. It's like, no, that's not enough.
No, that's what we call cheap heat.
Yeah, it's just that's not enough anymore. Final Boss says we need a babyface Sara that pits heel turn just for fun. I don't know if that's possible. Honestly, I don't know.
You don't think I could be a good heel?
Absolutely not.
Oh.
I love how that's the way that you take it. I think it would be almost impossible for me to be babyface because
I feel like I have KO in me.
I haven't seen that yet.
Kevin Owens.
So,
not in that way, Sami Zayn. Chill out.
What?
Oh, I thought you were making a joke.
No, I was saying I haven't seen this side. I mean, I appreciate that because I would be terrified, and I would be going to WrestleMania by myself. But anyway,
can't have that, Sarah.
Yeah,
can't have that.
So during the New Day and the LWO match, we got some random interference. And it looked like luchador Chad Gable had decided to make his presence known with his American-made luchador mask.
That wasn't Chad
Gracias.
Gable. That popped me. No, before we get back into my bed, that Gracias, when that happened, I laughed my ass off because obviously you knew what was going on, and he could have just scared out of the way. Security does the chase out, whatever. But that added Gracias just...
Is that how he said it? Gracias? Like gracias?
Gracias!
Okay. I would say Gracias. That's how I say it.
Gracias.
Anyway, he was also in the iconic getup, black hoodie, black pants, black shoes, because that's not, mysterious. And eventually security came out to get him and he sprinted away like he was in the Olympics. I swear to God, that man was like the fastest man on the planet. It was Usain Bolt. I don't know. And of course, most of us believed it was Chad Gable. And then he's being interviewed by Kathy Kelly and Kathy's like, we know it was you, blah, blah, blah. And in the background, you see the guy getting arrested. Now, what is your theory? Is your theory that it was Chad Gable?
Yeah.
Or was it not Chad Gable and it was just a coincidence?
It was Chad Gable.
Did he hire another dude to do that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. We see each other.
We know we know Vol.
And that's the thing. That makes the whole thing even funnier. Right? Like everybody knows if you've been watching this, I am not the biggest Chad Gable fan as far as like a character. Like, is he phenomenal in the ring? Of course he is. Like, he's incredible. Like, I respect the man. But as far as a character, like, I've not been that interested. I've been annoyed, basically ever since he did the feud with Gunther and had his daughter cry, and I did not give a fuck. And I did not care about the tears from your baby girl.
That's a heel thing.
I mean, I'm just saying. But we had a belief that this was what was going to happen. He said that he was going to go away. He wanted to learn the luchador style of wrestling, and we were like, all right, dude's gonna come back, he's gonna have a lucha mask, like it's gonna be fun. And we knew that was gonna be entertaining, but now that we have this added layer of him like pretending that it's not him and that he just was like, oh, I'm back mysteriously the same night that like who you thought I was is also here, and the fact that he like hired a guy so that he could keep his cover, it's like that just makes it even more fun, I think.
I'm worried about what's going to happen to Alpha Academy, right? American Made, excuse me. American Made.
Yeah. Oh, like they're going to split?
Or... No, not they're going to split. I'm talking about Master Gable said when he came back, there better be championship gold around their waist.
I know, so they kind of ignored that part last night, but I guess it's okay because we were so focused on... You know what? This is really interesting. Final Boss says, I think it was Ray Phoenix.
No, I had that thought too. I did.
You know what?
Part of me was like, maybe
that could be somewhat of an
Sting's in
interesting
NXT.
swerve, right? Like if Gable wants to keep up this idea that it really wasn't him, then maybe we do eventually figure out like, oh, by the way, yeah, no, it was Rey Fenix. Like maybe, I don't know. I still kind of feel like that would be,
Dominic
it would be
gave him
interesting,
the
but also
card.
weird to introduce him as a heel. What?
Dominic gave him the card. Like he was like, go find this guy, whatever. So like,
Oh.
I'm just thinking lucha connections. Like,
Yeah. So I don't
soft
know.
family wrestling tree.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that would be kind of interesting. Because it does feel like, in case nobody knows, it does seem like Rey Fenix is on his way to WWE. Finally. Would you, if that were the case, let's say it was Rey Fenix, okay, would you want to see this? Would you want to see Phoenix versus Penta?
Yeah.
Is that the way you would introduce him, though?
No.
Okay. See, that's what I'm saying.
Questions.
It's like, is it one of those things where, like, because what I was saying when we talked about this a week or two ago, when the news broke that he was removed from the website, that we wanted to see, or at least I think we agreed, that we kind of wanted to see Penta continue on the singles run for a while before they start to limit him to be a tag team guy. So I think if we want to keep that going, then maybe eventually they could do the Phoenix thing. But have they feuded before? Has that ever been a thing between them? Or do you think they'd want
that
to?
I cannot confirm or deny.
Okay. But you also have to wonder too, because we've seen tag teams in the past, or brothers in the past that were a tag team feud before, and it doesn't always go over super well, or isn't always the greatest. But you also have to wonder, like, because of that, would they want to do it, or do they want to feud at all? Because I mean, it in this instance, it literally is his brother. It's like, do you want to feud with your brother? You might not want to.
I would rather see, like, when Eddie and Ray fought at Mania 21 type of thing happen between them.
Mm-hmm.
Because anytime two luchadors of that high ranking, in my eyes, square off in the ring, it is a form of art. That is what wrestling is about. That's what lucha libre is about.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see it for the appreciation of professional wrestling, not because I'm a WWE fan that wants to see a storyline involved into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they go about debuting him, because of how they did that with Penta. They could do it in this kind of way where it's like Penta doesn't even know that his brother's there. You know, I don't know. I just hope that it's something that they want to do, or they can like make. If I would like to think that they could also make Rey Fenix into a big star too, because you don't want it to just be like, oh, it's all behind Penta, because that doesn't help Rey at all, you know. No. But we'll see. But anyway, moving on. So this was the first Raw episode of many between now and WrestleMania that Cody Rhodes is going to be on. And in case you guys miss it, I informed Pat, who didn't notice it the first time. Did anyone else see that Cody confirmed, without even saying it, that yes,
his actions confirmed.
Travis Scott did bust his eardrum? Did anyone notice that last night? It was one of the first things I noticed when he was doing his entrance. So anyway, this was the second time that he has spoken since the beatdown at Elimination Chamber happened, because we heard what he had to say on SmackDown. And this wasn't that he didn't say anything interesting, but it was kind of just like saying the same things. Like, he just really wants to see how Cena goes about explaining himself, because he really does not understand how we got here. That's basically like what I would say I took away from this. Calling him a hypocrite, kind of a moron, a fool, whatever. All the words that you can think of to describe what John Cena did. That's how Cody feels. And I get why they were doing this. This is like the interim episode of Raw where Cena's not there, because he will be in Europe when they go there for the next 3 weeks, which, reminding you guys, we get early Raws for the next 3 weeks.
We do. We do.
3 p.m., I think 4 p.m.
and then 3
back
p.m. At 3.
Yeah, which means noon, 1 p.m. and noon again for me. So,
maybe you're gonna sleep pretty well these couple weeks now.
I know.
Early Raws.
Well, also my Raws end at like 7:30 though, so I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not the
different than
same.
10:30. It's a
Yeah.
little different than 10:30.
Yeah, but I'm working. So I'm like, am I gonna put Raw on as I'm working? I guess maybe,
Absolutely, you are. What?
but yeah, so
With the
we're gonna have
seafood.
to wait at least one more week to see Cena. And what I think is interesting is international crowds are so different than American crowds. And the fact that Cena's first return to WWE after Elimination Chamber is going to be in front of a Brussels crowd. I'm so interested to see how they're going to react because it could go either way. I know that they want us to boo him and he's supposed to be a really bad guy, but when we're talking about them going overseas, you do not know which way they're going to go. So they could be excited because, first of all, they haven't seen John Cena in God knows how long. They are finally seeing John Cena as a heel. Like, that's exciting. So I don't know. That is something that is like another reason that you'll not want to miss this Raw, because it's like, other than hearing what he has to say, I want to see what the reaction is from the fans, because
I have a feeling
I've been sorry, one more thing. I've just been a little bit iffy about how this was going to go with him because of, obviously, it's been 20 years of people loving him. So trying to get people to boo him relentlessly is going to be a task, I think.
I feel like the international crowd is going to go all in with heel Cena by booing him. They will let him have it. They might not let him speak for 10 minutes. And this is where we start seeing Monday Raws go from 2.5 hours to 2:45, 2:50, 3:10, because it's such a special occasion for them to be having a live Raw internationally, especially on Netflix now, on the road to WrestleMania. The biggest takeaway from international shows is not the wrestling itself, it's the crowd. They have an appreciation and love for it that we, as North Americans, take for granted because they travel so easily. It's like, oh, I didn't get tickets to Raw this year. Well, they're coming back in a few months or maybe a year, whatever, but I'll catch the next one. You don't know when they're going to come back over. And it's going to be, and when they do go over, it's for live events, which is not canon with WWE programming. So it's a different crowd that we should be taking away from them their gratitude of how grateful they are for being there, and we just take it like whatever.
Well, and it's going to be crazy too, because this is what, the first time that they've ever streamed it live, or it's ever been live from Europe.
Like live, yeah.
Live everywhere.
Live, but it's tape delay.
Yeah, crazy, right? And it's kind of crazy too, because like then we're gonna have to deal with SmackDown being taped, which is kind of weird.
Oh, that does suck. I didn't even think it's USA.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think this could be good. I'm also still not sure how I want Cena to approach this anyway. Like I kind of love the idea of him not saying anything. Like, just don't say anything. Don't explain yourself. Don't give a reason. Don't try to justify what you did. Like, I think it's more hateable to not hear anything. Like, if he comes face to face with Cody in the ring or something, Cody asks him all this and he just stands there or leaves. I don't know. That's
he's got to say something. Don't you?
See, this is what Trainer Red is saying too. I'm thinking he might not say anything.
But is The Rock going to be there too?
No, I don't think so. No, they haven't advertised him yet. But I have no idea.
Because if he doesn't speak, have The Rock speak for him.
And the thing is he can just say his action spoke. There's nothing I can say. I already told you like how I feel. I showed you how I feel. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's better to not say anything than try to over explain it, because then I don't know. It kind of just is like, I don't know. We don't see that very often anymore, No,
we don't.
But anyway, then we see Raquel Rodriguez versus Bayley to become the number 1 contender for the women's Intercontinental Championship. And obviously, with a little help from her Judgment Day friends, Raquel becomes the number 1 contender to face Lyra Valkyria. When that will happen, I have no idea. But I don't really care, if I'm being honest. I really want to see more of Raquel and Liv getting involved in the tag team scene. I hate that they've been tag team champions for what, like 3 weeks at this point, and they've done literally nothing. They haven't even like hinted at who they might be feuding with or who might be trying to come for the tag titles. Like, that hasn't happened at all. And you assume that that is going to be their way to get to WrestleMania. So I'm like, all right, I'm waiting. Like, that is something that I'm actually interested by. Not the likely incoming Intercontinental Championship match on Raw against Lyra. Like, I don't care.
It's just the tag team division, with the women's tag team division, just seems depleted. Seems like there's no real teams. Like, where's the electric carnival?
I don't know. Or what happened to the Meta-4 girls? They disappeared from television, from the main event.
Yeah, and everyone said that they got called up to SmackDown, which that would be a likely place for them in catering. It just, to me, they don't know what they're doing with the women's tag team division, which is sad, because I want to see some great tag team action.
Well, and this is the thing that I always circle back to when we're talking about the women's tag division, is the problem is that they never want to actually have women's tag teams. They never do. They always want the women to be single stars. And I just think that's not the way to go about it, because you don't see that all the time with the men. They don't always try to split up the male tag teams, because it's like, no, like, but with women, it's like, sometimes it's okay. And I've said this before, there are people who are meant to be in a tag team because they are not strong enough on their own. Why do you think that the Usos were a tag team for so long before they decided to be like, maybe we should see what Jay and Jimmy can do on their own? Obviously, Jay has flourished mostly because he didn't get injured multiple times the way that Jimmy did. So, like, Jimmy has not been given the same opportunity. But it would be okay if you're like, with Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, neither one of them will ever, in my opinion, would ever rise to the top of the women's division on their own. But they could be a great women's tag team. So it's like, why not just showcase that? Why not embrace them being in a tag team instead of having them in catering? Or like, I don't know. I think that's part of the issue. Like, Raquel and Liv are a great tag team, but they're singles people. So then trying to put them into the tag team title scene, it's like, yeah, it works for now, but it's not going to work for a really long time, especially when they don't have anybody to compete against, like you're saying. So that might mean that they have to lose the tag titles to a team in NXT. It seems like they would flourish in NXT.
That's my thought process.
Yeah. And then we got to another stellar segment.
This was awesome. This was awesome.
First of all, I love Io Sky. I'm obsessed with her. She is so great. She's so funny. And
hilarious.
I like that they gave her mic time, because that is not something that Vince McMahon would do, because she doesn't speak perfect English, so she can't talk on the mic. And I enjoyed, what Bianca had to say. And I'm very excited about that match, even if that is all that it was. Although this basically confirmed that it was going to be a triple threat. I liked Bianca defending herself against Rhea. I think the thing that took me by surprise the most, and I looked this up online as well, and I saw a lot of people were not thrilled about Rhea coming out here and being pissed at Bianca and basically blaming her for her loss to Io, when after Raw last week, when she cut that promo that everybody was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. It also went viral on Twitter, has over 7 million views the last I looked. Rhea was talking about taking accountability and, blaming herself for why
Yeah.
she lost to EO. And that was a nice change for her character. And a lot of people were saying it was like really good development for Rhea Ripley, the
Really
character.
great.
And
Really.
a week later to see her out there doing the complete opposite was very confusing. And a lot of people were upset about it because they felt like this was actually a pretty good direction for her to go in, to just be like taking a look in the mirror. We saw that instance of right before she lost that she was like, "I'll see you at Mania, Bianca." And it's like, okay, yeah. So she realizes and she's acknowledging that, yeah, she got a little cocky and got in her head and blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. I was a little bit kind of, bummed about that too. And I don't know what that means. But I was happy that EO did get slaps in at the end
Oh yeah,
because
we're gonna talk. That banner's right there. My
oh,
thing
okay.
about the Rhea
Yeah.
accountability,
Go
to
for it.
me, there's still development there.
Yeah.
I do. I would have liked to see more of it on screen. It felt that Rhea was acting emotionally and wants to get under Bianca's skin before WrestleMania to
Mm-hmm.
do what she did to to Rhea.
Mm-hmm.
So a little taste of her own medicine in a way. And it does bring up a good point. Why was Bianca out there? Like, why was she out there? So she's asking the questions that a lot of us are thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Was there an ulterior motive? There's a lot of shit going on with
There had to
Jade.
have been.
That's what no, but that's what I mean. Like, for her to poke the bear because what the hell? The Bianca's all, was all fine with Naomi as tag champs. And then
Mm-hmm.
they lose the titles, but it's okay. She got her title match at WrestleMania,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't seem like she's going to Jade being like, "Where you at? Like, where have you been? I missed you. Let's go grab our titles." No, she
Mm-hmm.
focused on herself. So
Mm-hmm.
something of that, all that happening, it's an easy target for Rhea to poke the bear
Yeah.
and further their own little rivalry they have, which
Well,
inevitably led to Io Sky slapping them.
it could
Yeah.
also be a way, I guess, if we're gonna go into that direction of Rhea and continuing on the blame game. She could also try to use it as like a tactic to try and get Bianca off her game, by um having these arguments with her and taking advantage of the drama that Bianca is dealing with her former tag team partners and whatever, and kind of just like get in her head in that way and just make her more stressed. I don't know. Something there, but like you said, I did love that EO kind of got the last laugh, and I thought it was important because I really do think that they're gonna have to walk a very careful line over the next 5.5 weeks when building this up, because it very easily could become a feud and match that feels like it's only between Bianca and Rhea.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't forget that Io Sky is the champion. She beat Rhea on Raw for a reason. And so her getting in the middle and slapping both of them and telling them to like stop it, blah, 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 blah. It was a reminder of like, hey, I'm here. I'm the champion. Don't forget what you're really going for. It's on my shoulder, like, and that just feels that's kind of how Io has been in WWE in the last few years, is to like you forget just how good she is. And
Yeah.
so they just have to like I said, they have to walk a very tight line, because like this could get out of hand and become very unfair to Io really quickly, and I would hate to see that.
Io Sky needs to win at WrestleMania. That is what I took away from the segment, is
She's
that
like
Io
the underdog.
is the champion, and if she is the underdog, Io is the champion, and Bianca and Rhea are dealing with arguing about their own personal bullshit to the
Mm-hmm.
point where both of them will knowingly put the hand in Io's face and put her away, like, no, not your time. You said that to the champion. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's saying that I can take the title whenever I want, type of thing. Like, arrogance. which is perfect for Io because Io Sky is the champion.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do that to the champion. The champion doing it to you, okay, we see it, we understand it from a whatever, but no, you are the challenger, and you do that. That is complete disrespect. Io winning at Mania comes full circle because what's this really about? What is this alleged? Because it hasn't happened yet, but it probably
Mm-hmm.
happened. What is this alleged triple threat story? It's between Bianca and Rhea.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two main characters, but neither of them are the world champion. Io Sky is the world champion. Everyone loves Io, and Io lost last year at Mania. What a redemption story would it be for her to win at Mania against Bianca Belair and Rhea,
Who have both won the women's championship at WrestleMania already, mind you.
and then that leads into branching off to a Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley SummerSlam program.
Well,
You're
also,
welcome.
We also have to look into what they're going to do with Naomi and stuff, though, and Jade. That sets
See,
up.
that's what
Bianca
I'm saying.
too.
That's why SummerSlam. We still got some buffer period between Mania and SummerSlam. So you tie up those loose ends,
Mm-hmm.
shine it up real nice, and then you put it off to the side until SummerSlam.
Yes. And then the main event. We're kicking it quick today. But anyway, so the much anticipated match between CM Punk and Seth Rollins in a cage match at Madison Square Garden took off. And you know what? This actually brings up another thing that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Maybe I can't decide. Do we want to wait until Thursday?
I already put stuff in for Thursday.
Okay, maybe we can talk about it then.
Put
Anyway,
a banner in the folder. Put a banner in the folder.
I will. So this seemed inevitable to end the way that it did. But before we get there, this was a PLE, I would argue, a WrestleMania quality main event. And it kind of bums me out that we got it on an episode of Raw, because I think this was a match that we had been really looking forward to, like I said before, like for the past year and a half, basically since Punk returned and Seth Rollins had a conniption. And we were like, okay, cool. This is a dream match that we always wanted to see, and we're finally going to be able to get it. We had to wait a year to get it, and it happened at the debut or the premiere of Netflix, which I still hate that it happened then. But this was a great second match, I guess, between them. And I don't really have any notes. Like, this was good from beginning to end.
That was
honestly.
fantastic.
It was so
everything.
good.
The little details of both of them opening the cage door, saying, "You can leave whenever you want to go. Let's go. You can leave, but we're fighting." That was a nice little detail. Both flip each other off, the birds, and then Netflix doing the old black screen on us. Like, it's stuff like that make you that much more invested, and can only be done by those guys. The hatred that they have, the way they've been building up this hatred. They said it started with the Shield. It started before that.
Yeah.
Seriously. And that's what made it an intense steel cage match. I will bring up Revolution right now because they had a steel cage match over the weekend. And a lot of people would say, "Oh, too gory. I didn't like the blood and all that." Well, it made sense for what they're doing, and they're not on WWE, so it's a glorified ECW at this point. WWE put on a steel cage match that was well done from a wrestling sports entertainment standpoint. You don't need the blood in there. You needed the hatred of those two guys to use the cage as a weapon. You don't need to bleed. You just use it to your advantage. You're locking these two Tasmanian devils who, with hatred in their heart, up in a cage so they can duke it out and get all this hatred that they have out against each other. And they did it very well. They gave you a reason to keep watching, and the stuff that they did. We had a super Spanish fly from AEW, but a superplex off the cage just just sufficed for this. It was that equal of a moment because it was that epic.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a fan.
Yeah, I think it did what it needed to do. I also feel like at the same time, it left it open still to continue. Like if they were to do a third match, I don't think people would be like, oh, we already seen this, been there, done that. I don't care to see it again. I feel like they could definitely do something again. And we would still be like just as interested. Similar to Seth and Cody. We got the trilogy out of them. I feel like we could see a trilogy out of Seth and Punk, and no one would be upset about that. But I think
I think we are
if
going to get a trilogy.
I think we are, yeah. If you've been paying attention or you've been watching us talk about it for the past couple of weeks, you probably knew exactly how this match was going to end, at least in some capacity, because Roman Reigns has been gone since the Royal Rumble, and we felt he was going to make his presence known on Raw, and that's exactly how it ended. I guess I just did not anticipate him helping Rollins win. I think I was like, oh, okay. Because he pulled him out of the cage, which made Seth win. But I think the bigger takeaway from this is Paul Heyman getting in the cage to console and check on Mr. CM Punk. And at first, Roman appeared to be only out there to seek his revenge on Seth Rollins, but the second he saw his wise man in there with Mr. Phil Brooks, he was like, you know what? No. I'm not okay with this, sir. So he made sure to go in there and show Punk exactly how he felt about the situation. And Mr. Paul Heyman looked on in complete horror. So this is inevitably going to be a triple threat, you would assume, at WrestleMania. But now there's like a lot of loose ends, I would say, that they're gonna have to deal with. And this is what I'm saying, right? Like, I'm not saying every match has to be a triple threat or whatever, obviously. However, this gives us probably a good 3 to 5 weeks of like great storytelling left to be told until Mania. And we're not getting that with all of these other matches that we're supposed to be super excited about. This is a match that I think is, if they really go about this the way that we think that they're going to, this is main eventing night one. Like I mean, it's going to rival the women's triple threat.
Yeah.
Because of just how star-studded those matches are. And I think it really will be coming down to who tells the better story between now and Saturday of Mania Night 1. Who's going to be the main event? And it's going to be interesting because I think it could go either way, but this one seems like a front runner for me right now because how this could all unfold,
The Rollins Punk Roman storyline all intertwines, and that's what makes it so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you have CM Punk and Seth Rollins history. Punk and Roman have their own little history, loosely connected with the Shield. It that does count for something.
Yeah.
But for this, it's all about Paul Heyman, and that's what makes this so much more juicy of a potential Mania main event.
Mm-hmm.
You have Roman's hatred with Seth already. That's just, they're wrestling soulmates or WWE soulmates, whatever. And you have Rollins and Punk, their pure hatred for one another, pure hatred. Roman and Punk don't really hate each other. They don't really hate. It's really just business, water under the bridge at this point. It's Paul Heyman that connects them both.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes this, so captivating to me.
Can we pause for a second?
And that's what I want. Yes.
I want to remember this day. I should almost write it down. We had a big argument about this.
Oh, am I contradicting myself?
Yep. If anybody was around for that conversation, please let me know in the chat, because I was telling you that there was like virtually no history between Roman and Punk, and you were like, "Yes, there is," and I was like, "No,
well, there is. No, there is history, but
I'm saying
the number one history, like I know. Yes, I know what what you're saying. There is history. Like where I'm going with that is that Punk didn't want Roman in the Shield. He wanted his buddy Chris Hero. So that's history there. But that doesn't top the history that they have with Paul Heyman. That at this point is more of a story to tell than the Shield
Yeah.
connection. With the Shield connection, to me, it would just be a comment or remark made in a promo to hype up the match. Like, I didn't even want you here. I wanted another hero.
Well, but that's
like,
the thing is like
superhero.
that's not common knowledge. So like,
which is why it would make more for a
yeah, and that's why
zinger
it
in a
can't
promo
be
then.
the story, because like you would have to be somebody who's like into dirt sheets and whatever, you know what I mean? Like you would have to be very tuned in, and that is also talking about something 10 plus years ago, 13 14 years ago. And obviously they are trying to cater to kids, and a lot of them aren't even that old, you know.
We have Twitter fans or Twitter people in the IWC who started watching wrestling 2016.
I know, it's like it makes me feel so old.
God, I just want to give you a hug and just show you some old Attitude Era Raw episodes. I used to do that with John Franklin, the dude in the chat, John Franklin. We used to, when we lived together, at night, I'd throw on an old Raw. And I'd be like, this is what wrestling was back in the 90s.
And they're like, what the hell is this? This made you keep watching? This made you come back for more?
He's like, who's that dude running around with a hardcore title and a scale? I'm like, that's Crash Holly.
It's like, John. Who's that guy in the Speedo with a mop? Who is that?
Perry Saturn. And that's the mop is his friend?
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Mopperson, I think he said once.
It's like, don't worry about it. But anyway, yeah. God. So the other thing that I had up here, we're going to talk about it on Thursday.
I think that's a good Thursday topic. Yeah. I really do. We have a lot of good topics for Thursday already. There was a poll on Twitter that I want to see.
Oh, so Final Boss thinks that the women's match should be the main event, and also thinks that it should be this match should be the kickoff. I don't hate it.
I don't hate that either. I don't hate that idea either. But you do. I don't know. You can still. I don't know. You're cooking.
Okay. Micah says, Sarah, who do you think would have been the face of the company if Rhodes and Punk never returned? It would still be Roman Reigns. Still think that's wrong. I think that they should have been co-faces of the company, and it should have been Roman and Seth. But
I think Seth would be your guy right now.
He should have been the guy. I think in general
was.
I know, and that's why I said it. It is one of those things where it's like it always seems to be at least in WWE, like throughout history, there always seems to be like two really good guys at the same time, and they feel like they need to pick one to be the face of the company or like be that guy. And obviously in this case, Vince picked Roman because of his, his family's history and his look. He obviously prefers a bigger dude, and that's why he didn't like Seth. And obviously Seth has kind of like, I'm not saying that he hasn't had a good career, but he's obviously not been given the same opportunities that Roman has. So Sarah, what do you think? What is a match that you think could have been a 2-night Mania? Oh, do you mean like which show could have been a 2-night Mania? The 8-hour one. That one.
Oh my God.
That one should have been.
That was 34.
Yeah, WrestleMania.
35. It was 35.
Okay, 35.
34 was in New Orleans. I watched it junior year. 35 was in New York. That was the 8-hour one. I took 3 smoke breaks. I didn't want to. That I'm not bragging about that. That's a complaint. Honestly, that's way too many smoke breaks during a WrestleMania.
Yeah, no, it was I started to not feel my butt anymore from sitting so long. Like I had to get up because I was like, you're just like sitting there. You're like, all right, it's almost over. And then you're like, fuck, there's 5 matches left and it's been 6 hours, and you're like, oh God, I love wrestling, but I don't know if I love it this much, especially when you think about that time, the matches were not like top tier.
See, that's the thing. That's such a good way to think of it. Is that enough wrestling? We watched last year. We went from Stand and Deliver,
Yes.
and then 2 hours later,
Mhm.
we were getting our seats for Mania Night 1, and that was all day, but you didn't feel your ass getting numb. You didn't really
No.
care if it did
Well,
anyway.
it
You felt
wasn't
your
numb
body
from
get numb, but
yeah, I was gonna say from being cold, but
yeah,
not from like
assholes on
sitting
Twitter.
there.
Assholes on Twitter saying, "Oh, dead crowd."
It was
You sit through
no,
that.
and the thing is like the only way that I can say is that is legitimate is when it's an indoor arena or stadium and it sounds like nothing's happening. That's when you can say, "Oh, the crowd is dead." Like you want to talk about Elimination Chamber. That crowd was terrible, and that was an indoor crowd. If Mania sounded like that, then I could be like, yeah. But I'm like, guys,
You
do
didn't
you
like the
understand
chamber
how
crowd?
I thought Toronto sucked. Honestly, I thought they were terrible. They weren't even really singing Cody's song. That's when you know that they are really bad. Okay, when Madison Square Garden sounds louder than you, that's bad.
They did. They brought it.
Yeah, because that's not a big stadium or a big arena, whatever. But anyway,
We got
that was wrong.
NXT at the theater. I didn't even know MSG had a theater. So that is happening right now. Roxanne Perez, Jordan Grace. We live in an awesome time to be a wrestling fan.
I
Sarah.
know.
Like really an awesome time to be a wrestling fan. There's not I can't think of a better time in history other than obviously the Attitude Era to get into it. Maybe even when Cena became champ. But other than that, like this is it. And it's not only just WWE. We have AEW that's on the rise. If TK stops getting in his own way, that's on the rise. TNA partnering with WWE. We got indies. The indies are popping so much that I sat down with featherweight champion in MLW, the God Queen, Delmi Exo. We talked MLW Battle Riot. That's
It's
happening.
gonna go up tomorrow.
That's fine. I was busy
I just
today.
couldn't.
That's on
I
me.
didn't want to give it a JC
Yeah,
title.
I totally no. You're right for doing what you did, and it will go up tomorrow. Go check that out. If you're not familiar with the indies, it's all right. Like she even was really cool about me just like, yeah, you watch MLW now, like or whatever. Like it's a great talk about what she's been doing on the indies, what the indies are like, and her going over to Japan. And we talk a little bit about how dedicated the Japanese take, the sport of professional wrestling. Go check it out. It was a really good interview. And I can't wait to have her back on. I really can see who else, she brings forth. Because Brett gave me Delmi. Delmi could give me someone else, Sarah. And then the list keeps growing. Kind of trying to be like CVV. My God.
Let's go.
Well, we got to see him at Mania. He's in Vegas. We got to go to that show.
I think it's already sold out.
Well, you know what? We'll see him at WWE World again. So
yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning into this edition of the Raw Rewind. We will be back on Thursday for the Super Show. New look. I would go check it. I would come and check out the new look. All right. It's really cool. So come check that out and stop by the channel tomorrow for the Delmi Exo interview. While you're there, hit that subscribe button and bell notification to know every time we go live. We're a little bit over a month to Mania. All right.
Yep.
I can't wait. I still have to change my flight. Sarah, please send
Yeah.
me a text that throws me into an anxiety attack so I can do that. And we will see you on Thursday. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. You can do it. Just do it. Try.